Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from the host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1v1 on the fields of Angoville. On the fields of Angoville, we shall be seeing in the northern half, Marinas 1v1, fighting for the Panzer Elite, fighting for the 2nd SS Panzer Division Defies. Opposing him shall be Lepepsi, apparently a Smith account for Go Pepsi Live, a level 17th American player. Last time I checked anyways. Fighting for the Americans, fighting for the 3rd Infantry Division. Hurrah! Looks like he's going for some pretty heavy engineer stuff, at least 3 engineers. Yeah, I think we might occasionally see 3 engineers, but I hope he doesn't go 4 engineers, because again, you don't see that a lot. At the same time, though, Marinas is going for 2 cannon crowds, perhaps hoping to seize a lot of territory from Lepepsi. We are now actually seeing 4 engineers. Fancying that, I wonder what might be the idea behind that. Anyways, Marinas are going to secure a lot of territory. Panzer Grenadiers are on the way. Hooray! There we go. The 4th engineers setting up the barracks. So the 4th engineer barracks start from Lepepsi. Points are being secured, and Marinas going straight for the fuel. In fact, engineers moving in, and I think we have found the reason for why he went for 4 engineers. He was expecting a Wehrmacht player. He wasn't expecting Marinas. Actually been playing Panzer Elite, so he's not paying attention during the loadout. So in this case, that would certainly have warranted a meld from Lepepsi. Panzer Grenadiers are moving in with a Gewehr 43 in hand, opening up on these engineers. And again, that's rather what can be a problem for all these engineers. That is, of course, if he's running into a lot of Panzer Grenadiers with Gewehr 43s. Oh dear. Although at the same time, we are seeing Pepsi then getting pretty aggressive, going for all the cutoff points with his engineers. He's getting pretty aggressive, harassing, and of course, the question is, how will Marinas 1v1 actually react to this? Engineers are moving swiftly towards the west, again making things a bit of a fuss. For Marinas 1v1, we're also seeing a Jeep coming out. Pretty interesting enough. Still no riflemen, still nothing to actually fight these Panzer Grenadier. Aus der 2nd SS. Engineers getting pushed off. Jeep moving in though to try and cover their retreat. Second Panzer stops. Engineer squad spots the engineers, but again Jeep moves in. Going for the fuel right there. And he's in fact going for the cutoff point over there as well, while the Jeep essentially tries to keep the Panzer Grenadiers occupied. So some pretty severe harassment going on right now for Pepsi. He's rather realised he's in a bit of trouble, but a Jeep could in fact turn out to save him. And we are in fact seeing a 2nd Jeep. This is getting pretty highly irregular. What is the Pepsi up to? Has he been having too much red wine or what? Jeep though charges in to save the other Jeep. Some pretty deft harassment right there, pretty deft handling of his Jeep. And going for the cutoff point, but again Pepsi immediately moves in for the cutoff point. Marinas isn't even reacting, but again he's has already secured another one. He's also going for his fuel point. I mean, Marinas is running from point to point. He's trying to react to this rather intrinsically heavy harassment that's currently being perpetrated against him by Lepepsi, that insidious Frenchman. And this could certainly be causing Marinas 1v1 no end of confusion. In the meanwhile, Pepsi has already secured this part, and he's certainly gaining his resources more stably. Marinas, on the other hand, is basically getting something once in a while. Keep coming under fire. And we are seeing the 1st Rifleman squad coming out for Lepepsi. And yes, they'll get dropped as they do try to repair. I can't help but feel that Marinas would be better off if he just focused on one half of the map. Instead, he's trying to sort of cover both halves of the map, which is rather causing him to have to run quite a bit of while to actually deal with what's going on. And as you sort of might be noticing, that's not quite working as well for him. Because again, then Pepsi just shifts out. He just keeps finding wherever there's a link in the defenses, and he just moves in and begins harassing again. And that's definitely a bit of a problem for Marinas. Kettenkrad coming under quite a bit of fire. Points being secured over here. Panzer is even aiding in. Granted, they are slower than a Kettenkrad. They're in fact slower than an engineer in taking points, but there you go. Pulling back a bit. Panzer sitting about, repairing. Of course, Kettenkrad takes over the security job, and there we go. Small engagement over here. Jeep support rifle. We are also seeing another Jeep over here. We are seeing flame for engineers. This could actually prove to be a pretty nasty assault, and there we go. Moving in against the Panzer in heavy cover. 2 Panzer Grenadier squads firing away. Jeeps charging in, trying to push the Panzers out of cover, I imagine. Panzers trying to focus there. There we go. Slow fire by that. There's a suppressive volley, but there we go. Flamethrowers burning away the hail stacks. Burning away the Panzers. Panzers getting shot up. 1 squad already forced back. Less than half health. And 2 Panzers burst into flames. Oh my goodness. Flamethrowers just doing terrible damage to them. Riflemen moving in towards the east. No. What are they doing? Make a decision. Now 1 Panzer squad over here on its own again as the Riflemen and 1 Jeep move in. Could be another retreat for Marinas. 1 versus 1. Again, Pepsi is proving to be quite a nasty little bagger in this ordeal, and we also seeing a supply up for him, for Lepepsi. Only 1 rifleman squad as of yet, but he's certainly doing quite a bit with it. And what else he has. I mean, he's really getting the most out of this rather peculiar situation. Panzers, though, moving in to react to these riflemen and their sordid dealings. We are seeing a Kampfgruppe company going up. Imagine, in fact, we are seeing all 3 Panzer squads working away at that. He's probably going to go for a Panther command, get some armor cars, which could certainly be a much better response to all of these riflemen, all of this harassment, all of these engineers. Jeep, though, taking quite a bit of damage. He's driving straight past the engineers, my goodness. I mean, the Panzer gun is not the engineers. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And there we go, like a shaken up bottle of Pepsi. All coiled up, all pent up. It is now just exploding into the eastern half of the map where there's absolutely nothing to resist it. Panzer suffering a bit of fire here. Kettenkrad moving in to try and block the harassment right there, but Rifleman at least temporarily taking heavy damage, so because it's a bit too close to the Rifleman, but looks like it will get out of there. Panzer command is up, armored car on the way. Jeep taking quite a bit of damage, and there we go, just securing most of the right hand side of the map again. Marinas is sadly being sort of led around the arena, constantly running from point to point, but he's never really able to sort of dictate where the fighting is going on for the larger partner. That's definitely not working to his advantage. Jeep taking quite a bit of damage. In fact, he could be losing a Jeep finally. That would be interesting for Marinas. Certainly a bit of a small victory. In the meanwhile, we're also seeing straight for the Panzer support command. Of course, he's worrying that Pepsi is going for an armored car. Jeep getting hunted down, and come on. There we go. A small victory right there. They're getting forced away from the east again around the small engagement, but again, Pepsi seems to be winning the most of them. We still have that other Jeep proving to be a huge nuisance. Bastard, a menace, a threat. And there we go, first armor car though has arrived with its auto cannon and machine gun mount. Mines going down there for Pepsi, although it could prove to be a bit of a hazard as the armor car tears through them. Gunning down 1 right in front of the others. Another Kettenkrad repaired, although he's already lost 1. Anti-tank, half-tank on the way. Again, he is running about a motor pool and an armor car. We are seeing that, but of course, the question is, will Pepsi in fact be going for a motor pool? I mean, an armor car. Will he be going for an anti-tank gun to deal with the other armor cars, and perhaps the anti-tank half-tank, which he knows is bound to follow up, since that is pretty much what most of all Panzer Fleet players go for, trying to respond to an enemy armored car, since they're pretty much the best thing you have against them.
The enemy is seizing our territory.
Points are being secured. Panzers are moving in. Riflemen evacuating the position there as the Panzers are moved into a position where they are much better able to deal with the rifle inside the structure. Still, Pepsi is in fact holding large parts of the map, despite, you know, having a rather, in a sense, weak force. It's not really something that can deliver a lot of punch and actually withstand a lot of it either, but I mean, he's still holding most of the map due to some pretty intensive harassment, which Marinas have not really been able to hold up to. And again, I do think it's partly because he's been trying to hold too much of the map rather than just trying to focus on one thing and create a much more stable front line, which is going to be much harder for Pepsi to actually break into. And I think perhaps he's, you know, sort of underestimating what engineers and the Jeeps can do. But there we go, anti-tank Hafter gets off a nice shot on the Jeep. Mine's getting spotted. Panzers don't seem to be dealing with it. Armored car holding on here. Anti-tank Hafter getting attacked by riflemen. Oh, Panzer squad down. Veterans who 1-for-1. Engineer squad, in fact. Jeep armor car. Anti-tank Half-Tank heavily damaged. I'm not sure why I insist on calling it a Jeep. But let's go have a look at the Lepepsi. Forcing away everything else. Again, doing quite well considering what sort of force he has. And he's just getting numerous anti-tank guns. He's ready to lay down the anti-tank smackdown on Marinas' forces of the 2nd SS Panzer Division Defies. Armored car rolls in. Sorts out the Jeep. In fact, no more Jeeps for Pepsi. Another attempt at mines, but not quite succeeding. No doctrine as yet for Pepsi. Armored cars move in. Anti-tank Half-Tank getting repaired. Might be seeing expert repairs, I don't know. And there we go, defensive operations. Troops getting reinforced. Points being secured. But again, Pepsi is holding most of the map quite extraordinarily. Again, I'm quite surprised. And I imagine Marinas 1 versus 1 is as well. And there we go, 2nd armored car ready. Engineers here running into a bit of armored car related issues. Panzers moving out on the west, or in fact the east. What could they be planning? They are planning something with assault rifles, or rather solid assault force. In fact, more anti-tank is moving up. He might be trying to sort of hit the flank, going for, in fact, for a pretty far one, and perhaps hoping to catch something pretty squishy with his assault rifles, which could certainly work out quite well. And now Pepsi, though, is being pushed back a bit more. The armor car's putting a bit too much, and again the assault rifles could definitely also push things, but he needs to be careful again. The strategic points do provide a bit of reconnaissance. In this case, he might actually see it, but there we go. Panzer is moving in. And what do we see? Numerous very tasty anti-tank gun targets, quite exposed to assault gun fire, Sturmgewehr fire, fire. Men out, and there we go, anti-tank gun crew getting sorted out in a pretty brutal manner. Engineers are moving in, but they might not even be a match for this. And the sense as well, we are seeing a bit of riflemen getting luck. On the other hand, anti-tank gun number 2 also getting pushed away. Panzers could in fact rush straight into the base, right past all of these heavy machine guns, but no. Stemming, oh, he's trying to lure him into the mine. Excellent job, Pepsi. And there we go. One lost, the rest in fact heavily wounded, but now we're seeing the armored cars moving in as well. This could be a pretty nasty trap, and we are seeing overload or overcharge on the engines. 2nd armored car needs to pull in as well, has to be careful. One Panzer squad pushed away, anti-tank gun turning away like a madman. Where's the 2nd armored car? Come on, our other Panzers need to move in, sort out the anti-tank gun. Pepsi's troops are getting caught. And there we go, 2nd anti-tank gun gone. Open night for the armored cars, if they so can desire. Anti-tank gun, though, getting recruited, but still Pepsi's troops are getting a bit blasted, a bit decimated. This was certainly a bit of a comeback for Marinas, and that was certainly about time. Pepsi's forces certainly were bled a bit right there. Although I think he could have pushed a bit harder with the armored cars right there and done more damage to Pepsi, but that's not to say, you know, he's done nothing at all. But he is certainly regaining parts of the map now, so that's something. Just needs to keep on pushing and pushing harder for the fatherland. As for those wondering, well, what separated Waffen-SS Panzer divisions from a regular Panzer division? It was essentially a few things. Largely, it was actually the infantry complements. I mean, usually in a Waffen-SS Panzer Regiment or Grenadier Regiment or anything like that, usually the infantry would have 1 battalion more than a regular Heer Regiment. I mean, that was initially already there a pretty large difference, but also in the sense that it usually also the same applied to artillery, and at Waffen-SS artillery regiment would have 1 battalion more or battery more of artillery. I mean, that was largely where it was. Actually, they might also have more weapons, but I mean, in that sense, they weren't actually sort of largely oversupplied with weapons. It was mostly, in fact, how much infantry they had. I mean, you can find army divisions which are actually usually better equipped with tanks or other sorts of things. and some of SS divisions which were actually pretty poorly equipped in some ways. But I mean, again, with men, it was pretty much until close up to the very end where they usually would have that one extra battalion. It was only in those last few months where they were rather down to that with other regular army divisions had.
Observation posts
Marinas is securing larger parts of the west now, but at the same time looks like he's rather given up on these. And what is Pepsi doing here? He's in fact clearing lines of fire using his anti-tank guns. He's going to make it much more easy for him just to open up here. Certainly not a bad idea. Definitely going to make it easier for him. Panther is moving up to perhaps hit the flank, but already there. Again, Pepsi is pretty good with the mines. That is great. That is lovely. Wunderbar. BAR's up for his rifle. He's also getting more. That is also good. He's also getting additional anti-tank guns. He's got a supply and upgrade. My goodness, Pepsi's just in control. Somewhat. Still no doctrine. And of course the question is, what will Marinas do in return? Will he be getting a mortar half-tack to try and bomb out Pepsi, or what will he do? So it looks like he's trying to sort of seize things up. He's also getting Panther strikes. He's now actually in fact getting a bit worried about American armor, I suspect, otherwise he would not be bothering with Panther strikes. He's no longer worried about armored cars, he's worrying about American tanks, Shermans, or anti-tank tank destroyers. Bit of an interesting, and there we go. Of course, this building has a bit of weakness there. Of course, if you have grenades, you can lob it over there, and there we go. Agnes pushed out, but already, of course, now Lepepsi know what's going on. He's also getting us an observation post. So again, for this case, he might actually be guessing right. Engineers rushing into a burning house, not necessarily the best idea. Oh my goodness, one engineer squad, and they're just getting but no, Pepsi actually retreats. Armor car moves in, but a damaged engine, it's getting way too easy a target. And there we go, anti-tank gun gets off a great hit. And now the Panther goes running into the house right in front of the flamethrower engineers. Careful, Marinas, careful. Not looking up too well right there. Panzergrenadiers need to retreat. Rückzug, Männer, Stellungswechseln. Anti-tank half-tank armored car as well. Tank buster Panzer looks like to be getting out of there. No doctrine as of yet, I think, by Marinas. Now, of course, the question is, what will Lepepsi do? Anti-tank half-tank continues firing. Armor car, incendiary grenades.
Down to 300 points.
And Marinas is slowly getting drained, but he does control most of the map now, which is something. Assault engineers moving in, these engineers with flamethrowers getting gunned down again. Anti-tank half-tank keeps off getting a few good shots.
Enemy unit down.
And looks like some unit died. Oh, Kettenkraut got knocked out by the anti-tank gun. How rude. Americans pushed out after suffering numerous losses to their anti-tank half-tank 37mm gun. The door knocker knocking more than doors in this case. All four buildings up, quite interesting enough for Marinas. Could he be going for some increased squad sizes? That would be quite nifty. Rifleman advantage. Oh my goodness, he could be losing a rifleman squad. Oh, Pepsi retreats in time. Jolly good. Jolly good. Anti-tank gun fires away. But again, now the infantry covers are gone, so we'll have to pull back to a slightly more defensible position. Engineers trying to delay, but they could, in fact, get slaughtered. Mines getting spotted. Kettenkraut, of course, doing its job right there. Anti-tank is getting... Oh, we are seeing a medic station up for Lepepsi. Anti-tank gun, in fact, just got sorted out. Marinas could split their troops out, and there we go. Increased squad sizes. Engineers getting murdered. In fact, he's down to 2 engineer squads out of 4. Lots of mines getting spotted. 5 command points, and we are seeing airborne. He's going for a strafing run, and Marinas troops are perfectly laid out for a strafing run. Oh no! And there we go. 4 Panzergrenadiers were gunned down, and there we go. Charged by Pepsi, just charging whatever rifleman could be found, forcing away the entire force of Marinas, and an armored car went down to a mine. He didn't manage to clear it out, losing one of his last... Oh dear, Marinas. That was just unfortunate. And now Pepsi's turning his French sights towards the western half of the map, and already there, 3 wounded, 3 more, and he's going to get a fresh rifleman squad out to take on the Krauts. But let's go look back at Marinas. Getting the Panther support come out. He might be homing for Panther to save the day. And of course, increasing his troops' sizes fully now. And particularly with some of these troops, they're going to get very lethal. Assault rifles 4-man, with that's definitely a nasty combination. Plus, of course, Gewehr 43s. Certainly not a happy thing either. This could certainly prove to be an issue for Pepsi if Marinas can leverage this properly. They could also end up biting Marinas in the arse. Tank depot going up, so again, a bit of a correct guess right there, although not quite in terms of timing, but at least he's prepared a bit with his Panzerschreck. No doctrine as of yet. Rather than push back, simply too much gunfire again. Marinas needs to be careful. He's already seen a strafing run, and if he keeps all those 2 clumped up, I mean, that's just going to produce even more casualties. I mean, when you have increased squad sizes, I mean, let's just pause. You can actually get away with spreading them out a bit more. I mean, they do have more firepower individually, making them that much more lethal. Thus, meaning, of course, again, clumping out not so necessary. And again, when you are dealing with an opponent with strafing runs, it will pay off to spread them out. Otherwise, again, strafing run. Oh, poo. I've just lost a lot of Panzers and a forced retreat, thus spending a lot of manpower at the same time. Why hadn't I spread them out? So, yeah, just a little comment there.
Panther, we must defend the enemy's advances.
I'm on some these, and there we go. Going for the Panther battle group. In terms of Panzers, the SS rarely got any sort of advantages. I mean, some were poor, didn't even get full amounts of Panzers, like the 9th and 10th SS Panzer Divisions. Only really the 1st and 2nd and 3rd, you know, got what they were supposed to get most of the time, and that was again because they were the first, they were the elite within the SS even. The only sort of real, otherwise, where there was something irregular was the 11th SS Panzer Division Nordland, which actually had a Panzer battalion besides its assault gun battalion, and it actually received Panthers, but again, that's pretty much the only sort of real irregularity, and that was again probably because also all the Nordics were under the Danes, the Norwegians and such, in which case that division got a bit of a special treatment. But that's rather sort of one of the occasions when they sort of did get preferential treatment, but again, rarely otherwise. Mostly, I mean, for example, all the Panzer divisions just had to make do with assault guns. But there we go, assault rifle, and there we go, a bit more spread out, not quite as clumped up, but still, these could be an tempting target for a strafing run. Mines dealt with. Medics pulling in the wounded. And Panzer's got to look out in the open. Careful, careful now, Marinas. Panther's almost ready. Sherman ready. Oh, this is going to be a problem for... And we are seeing tank destroyer doctrine. He's actually going for tank destroyers. He's might be going for dual Panzerschrecks on his Panzer Grenadiers. Incendiary grenades against engineers. Panzer is still here. Need to retreat. They're caught out now, and we are seeing... Oh, immobilizing. He's hoping to combine this with his Panthers. Very nasty that. Very nasty. Engineers rushing straight into the burning house, though, with the incendiary grenade. Not necessarily the best idea. Heavy losses to the Panzers. German fire, anti-tank gun fire. Oh, apparently not getting anything. This chap needs to get out of there. Los geht's, schnell, Rückzug. Incendiary grenade trying to stop the engineers from repairing. And there we go. We are seeing the retreat. We are seeing Panthers ready now. Come on. Panzerkampfwagen 5. Zu die Front. Nach die Front, I don't know. Tank busters getting inside the building. And not really succeeding anything. Come on, Panthers. Please. And heading the mine on their way out. And then, of course, retreating all the other way. Yeah, Marinas is a bit annoyed by that, I can imagine. Come on, Panthers, Panthers, Panthers. Oh dear. Oh dear. And there we go. Panzer just handed over to Pepsi. One Panzer squad down. This is looking worse and worse for Marinas. Panthers now. And there we go. The Panthers are arriving. Hopefully that should help. Of course, we'll see how much it will help. The 2 Panthers are nothing to scoff at, that's for sure. And anti-tank half-tank suffering anti-tank fire. Not sure though that tank destroyer doctrine was the thing needed. Airborne might have done, Luftwaffe might have done better with perhaps some 40 Jaegers to sort of sneak in here and then could have cleared out the anti-tank guns. Would have made a really nice combination. Careful with the Panthers, you don't want to get sticky bombed, you don't want to get sticky bombed. No, of course, question is, does Pepsi have the sticky bombs? No, it doesn't look like, otherwise I don't think those Panthers would have gotten out of there without getting covered in filthy American socks. And there we go, strafing run. Penning down several, wounding, clearing out the infantry support for the Panthers. Pretty much a loss right there for Marinas. He needs to get his Panzer guys out there. Panthers firing away, anti-tank, half-tank firing away. Riflemen, in fact, suffering quite a bit to these armored war machines of the Wehrmacht. Armed with their high-velocity 75mm guns. It could easily deal with most tanks the Americans could throw at them. Well, the Allies in general. Panther moving in, sneaking about. Has to be careful though with anti-tank guns. They can make short work of Panthers. And of course, the question is, of course, how will Panthers be in coming here? In particular, if they get up, the proper full vehicle model, because here's the thing, and let's just briefly pause and come to here's 2, and there's a thing about the armor, how it works. There's only 2 sides, there's the front and the rear. It sort of goes out, in fact, about here through the half, which means in the first half bit here, there's only the front, which gives the front bonuses, half gives the half rear bonuses, which of course means it's thin armor. I mean, if they can get a full model up, this would mean this was the front the heaviest, the side a bit thin, and of course the rear the thinnest. I mean, that would certainly make things easier and will also perhaps make the Panthers a bit more balanced. Because then the thing is, the Panther actually had pretty thin side armor. I mean, a Panzer IV had thicker side armor than a Panther. Panzer IV had 60mm, Panther only 50mm. I mean, that was quite a difference there as well. But yeah, just figured some people might find that interesting as well. And another Panzer squad out with Panzer being attacked by flamethrowers, and there we go, dual Panzer Shreks. Sherman moves in, gets off a nice hit. And Panzer either miss or do not penetrate. Bit unfortunate right there for Marinas. More Panzer still are moving in. Engineers getting caught out in the open. Panzer moving in from another angle. And there we go, small push. Oh, losses again to the Sherman. Doing quite nicely against all of these Panzer Grenadiers. Panther needs to be careful. Panzer Shrek and Sticky Bomb. Oh, poo. And no expert repairs actually for Marinas. Again, that's also where, for example, air Luftwaffe would have been nice. Then you could just gotten the Luftwaffe troops.
We are losing ground.
Again, Panzer is suffering heavily to the riflemen with BS and the Sherman. Going in right for the cutoff point, right in front of 2 Panthers. Rather brazen by Pepsi. There we go, being forced to retreat right past assault grenadiers with, veterans who want offensive veterans even. This could, oh dear, Pepsi could in fact be losing a rifleman squad. Yes indeed, and leaning behind a Panzer IV. Anyone else to secure? Pepsi being a bit annoyed by that, but still not going mad. I'm a bit disappointed in Pepsi. He is French, he could go mad and be, quite excused. Rifle flying from this building, holding up quite nicely. Panther's getting repaired, and still don't. Whoops, headset flew off. My apologies. My apologies. It happens a bit. And engineers getting pushed back. Could Marinas pull off some sort of dastardly assault right here and secure something, or what? Since he's quickly draining out of victory points. He does have 2 Panthers, although again heavily damaged.
Ready to respond.
BAR secured. Not entirely sure he actually gains anything. I mean, again, they will just be using the assault rifles, so it seems like a bit of waste. I mean, it would have been better for the Gewehr 43 Panzer Grenadiers to pick up the BAR. So I think that was a bit of a shame, and I think... Oh! Pepsi did run in and secure that Panther Shrek. Lovely.
This is Panther Panzer.
And there we go, Panther Panzer getting repaired. Moving in here, setting up the Panther Shrek troops in the nearby house.
Promotion of veteran sergeant is available.
And we are seeing veteran sergeants, meaning they are going to be harder to suppress. They're also going to gain veterancy faster. Although I think Group C might have worked a bit better. Anyways, there we go. Taking up position there. Medic station getting hammered by Panther Shrek rifle flamethrower engineers moving in. Not sure why he rushed in without full support for his Panzer Grenadiers.
Morale is dropping as we hit
And the
another
Panther
time.
needs to pull back.
Heavy armor.
1 squad moving in from the north. Sherman reacts, although he has got an additional Shermans. Main push going through here, though, near the cutoff point. Where's the Panther? Where's the anti-tank half deck? Come on, Marinas, push the assault fully. Commit or don't. Do it at all. Another strafing run. Oh, again, Marinas needs to be more careful with his Panzer Grenadiers. And there we go. It did not work out. Anti-tank half deck for some reason is rushing in, and oh dear, damaged engine. It's a gunner. An easy target for the Shermans and anti-tank guns. Machine gun emplacement at least attempted.
Enemy unit down. Front lines collapsing.
And these Panthers need to retreat. Come on, Marinas. And I think that was a reconnaissance run. Panthers pulling away. 9 kills and 6. A mortar half track could perhaps be nice, you know, support the assault. A bit of light artillery to bombard the enemy.
We finished construction.
Airborne.
And we are seeing the engineers going straight there for the victory point. Jolly good, nice job doing the using the airborne a bit for harassment. We are seeing Panthers though reacting to this audacious threat being posed by Lepepsi's airborne, and we are seeing heavy Panther fire, clearing out a few of them already. 11 kills and 7. Panzers arriving as well. Marinas getting more Panzer Grenadiers, but no more real support for them. Airborne are getting pushed away. Small assault going on here. In fact, larger assault, never mind. Machine gun emplacement opening up. Panzer is suffering heavy losses. We are seeing anti-tank grenades being used to clear out the machine gun emplacement. They are going in. This could be the big push from Marinas, perhaps. No, troops are getting heavy losses. He's not even committing with his Panthers. Anti-tank guns being pushed away. And we are seeing attempts at anti-tank grenades. Oh, hitting the rear but not doing quite enough damage.
Enemy unit down.
Would be better to focus on the anti-tank guns. And there we go, getting one cleared out. Panthers moving in. Second one going to clear out, leaving only behind the Shermans.
They're hitting one of our
But losses of Marinas' Panzer guns are heavy. He's lost several squads already, I fear. Anti-tank guns sold out. Panthers continue. One veteran to one with defensive. Germans now suffering under this Panther threat.
We have a secured sector under attack.
Panzers continue to push. 29 points left. Now Pepsi all needs to do is just hold some of his victory points a bit.
They're hitting one of our
Sherman crippled. Anti-tank gun secured again. More anti-tank guns dropping in. Sherman down. Sherman running into a bit of trouble. Lost both Shermans, retained But meanwhile, Marinas has brought the chain. Oh, never mind. Panther down. Panzerkampfwagen Panzer 5 kaputt. Nicht mehr. And Lepepsi 2 for 1 anti-tank gun. He might, in fact, oh dear, second Panther out of control. And this is pretty much game over for Marinas, I'd say. He's got a few Panzers left. He's actually gotten them fully upgraded. They have sprint. But I think it's too late now. Simply too late. Too little, too late. He's down to 3 Panzer squads with 4 men. While Pepsi retains a much larger force. And there we go. I mean, we'll just speed up these few minutes. Or we could not. Panzer is getting lost right there.
Enemy unit
Squad down. Another Panzer squad moves in.
We got company! Enemy troops! Right fucking there!
More heavy fire. One moving in, and GG Smurfs, GG, and there we go. Game over. A pretty heavy loss for the second SS, and of course, what lost the fight? I mean, it was a pretty bizarre start out, and then again, that can for some players rather confuse them again. How should he react? What is he to expect? I mean, sometimes I could rather wonder when I see something I'm not used to. And that could certainly also play a part, but I also think again it was partly because Marinas simply tried to chew off more than he could, bite off more than he could chew. He tried to hold larger parts of the map, which Pepsi exploited expertly. I mean, he kept rushing about, kept harassing. And Marinas much later on finally, oh right, I need to just focus on one part and then work from there on in. He got the armored cars and then, but still, Pepsi came back with anti-tank guns. He rather countered that quite well as well. And Marinas never really bothered with the mortar half-track. I mean, had he gotten one, he could probably have bombarded things much easier, prepared himself for an assault easily, and actually break through. And again, I also think this choice of tech destroy rather than Luftwaffe was also a mistake right here. I mean, it was close, but again, lack of mortar, lack of Luftwaffe lost him this match, I think. Whereas, and of course also, clumping up his Panzer gun, it is making much easier targets for the strafing runs. So there you go. Do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.